Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Showbunnygirl vlog. Today I actually have something really special to share. I offer, as you know, solo development classes, and just this week we talked about costuming. And well, it was actually a way bigger topic than I expected it to be. So I just felt like I was very rushed and I couldn't cover things to the extent that I wanted. So I just decided to record a video for my students about it. And then I thought, well, why not use this as my weekly video for my vlog? So here it is. So today it's all about costumes. And I just want to share here with you so you can see this is the book that I'm writing about solo development. It's not finished yet, but if you are interested, you can always DM me and I can let you know when it's finished. I offer this course live here in Switzerland, but also online. So you let me know if you're interested. Today, I'm gonna give you like just an overview, but I'm gonna talk about costuming. And costuming is just the last chapter that I've been speaking about right now. So I'm so excited about this book. It has like some of my favorite pictures on stage. And then I talk about everything solo development from beginning, like from having an idea to developing your idea and going on stage with it. So yeah, you talk about music, storyline, archetypes that you can play on stage and etc. And today, and of course it has exercises. So this video is about costume. And the first thing I want to tell you is this quote. I actually don't know who said that originally. I Googled, but there are several different, claims. So it's a quote. And it says, no love, however brief, is ever wasted. And that's very, very true. And I think it applies to burlesque and it applies to costuming and it applies a lot to you, the person listening to me. Because if you are here right now, you're probably wondering whether you want to get into burlesque or not. Or maybe you're just starting and you have probably realized it's kind of an expensive hobby, both in time, but also in resources, money, and all of the skills you may want to develop to, especially if you're going on stage. If you just want to come for classes, maybe you can find classes around you, or there are some good resources online. But if you plan to do it, and you might be considering even getting some paid gigs, you probably have noticed how much you have to put in. And personally, and this is very important actually for not only this video and the book, but everything in general, all of this, of course, there is no really right or wrong. All of this I drew from my experience, and it's my opinion, actually, what I believe is right. And if you're here on my channel, you're here to hear my opinion, not the general opinion, right? So that's what I give to you. So I say the costumes are a big topic because, well, there is a lot of time, resource, and space that you need. That's going to be like really consuming. You're going to need a lot of this in order to just fulfill your wish, to, if you have a vision and you see like, wow, yes, it's that vision that I have, a costume vision, and you on stage and those lights and everything. To build that vision, there's so much that you have to put in. And I've heard, many people say that if you have a really good act, you don't need any expensive costuming. And I find that true in some ways, but not really true in other ways. I believe every act can be up-leveled and upgraded and improved by better costuming, period. No exceptions. Second, yeah, maybe you don't need to get anything expensive. However, that's when you're talking just about money. But if you don't want to do something expensive, you have to put other things in. I find actually that all of these things, and I love this picture because you can see the rhinestones on the sole of my shoes. I rhinestone everything. Um, Costuming is a trade-off. So as you can see here on my second bullet point, so of course you don't have to spend a lot, but the less money, let's say, you spend, the more time you have to put in. And especially if you don't have the skills, if you've never rhinestone before, if you have never sewn before, if you've never altered, like clothes before, it takes a while. It's not something that you can just go buy and do tomorrow. Well, you can try and maybe you're lucky, but normally, those things will take time and maybe you make mistakes. So it's a skill you have to do and build. So yeah, maybe your fabric wasn't expensive, but you had to spend 20 hours, on the work. So how expensive is 20 hours of your time? So there is also these things to consider. Um, so here's my take on costumes. First, get the best that you can afford. There is a trade-off on time and resources you have available. But if you want this hobby to be taken more seriously, if you want yourself as a performer to be taken more seriously, and if you're taking the hobby to the next level, you definitely want to work on the costume. It cannot just be something that you just, okay, I have this very nice, lingerie at home and that's it. That's what I'm wearing. Yeah. So what I want to say is, yeah, of course you can do it, but I don't think it's good enough. In my personal opinion, when you want to do all of those things and you just want to have part of the work. So imagine a performance, an act is built of your choreography plus your technical skills plus your storyline plus your costume and all the work that you put behind all of this. And then you go on stage to show the world the act you created. The thing is, one of the reasons why we can do that today, it's because of the women that came before us, the burlesque, let's say, pioneers back, at the end of the 18th century. And then the thing is, when they did that, it was first very dangerous. Many got arrested. It was dangerous both with the audience, but it was also dangerous, like because they could get in trouble with the law and it wasn't accepted. And they took so much pride and they made so many efforts, to have also, like amazing costumes. There is many books on that. And these women paved the way for us. And I feel like when I'm not willing to put the effort, when I'm just like, okay, like I want to do it. And well, I'm lucky enough to just have like this very good body. So I'll just put on some lingerie and then I'll do it, like it's almost as if you're saying, well, whatever, anyone can do it. I'll just go and do it. It feels like a lot of lack of respect, I find. So I'm not saying that you need to invest all of your funds in it. Please don't. Remember, please don't do it. Please be sensible, be responsible with your money, and everything. But what I'm saying is effort. Be it with, okay, I'll save a few months. Some pieces of costume can be really expensive. And I was like, well, this month I can't do it, but I'll save a little bit and then next month I'll do it. You have the time to do it and you will appreciate it also in the end. You will be very grateful that you waited and you spent your money and your time and any of your resources on something that you will cherish for longer. So this is the first thing. Then again, you can outsource it. If it's the other way around, you're very lucky you can afford something really expensive, outsource it and use those resources to get yourself into classes and yeah, book coaches, like learn everything that you can. Use everything you have in your favor. Be smart about it. Also, look for resources. And if it's the other way around, if you can't afford much, be smart about it. Look for secondhand. There are many groups on Facebook, for example, there is one I'm into it, which is burlesque swap and sell, I think. But there is plenty, or even regular costumes, because you can always learn how to alter them and put a zipper on it, etc. So you can get stuff on the cheap. You can go to thrift shops and you can get, if you have a studio nearby, maybe you can get cheaper costumes from people from there. You can get books to learn either online or in your local library to learn how to make things. You can look for resources on YouTube. So there is plenty of ways that you can get this stuff done. If you keep doing that, I guarantee you're going to become really savvy, geeky, and smart about your choices. And then it will be much easier for you to spend all of your resources better in the future. So you will know, okay, so this fabric here, I can save on this fabric, but I'll get better rhinestones, because actually, if you have maybe a fabric that's not that good looking, but you rhinestone it, it's gonna look amazing. You can get a very cheap string, like your skin color, and strings are tiny, so I actually don't even need that many rhinestones. And strings can be really cheap, especially depending on where you live. You can get like 3 for 15 or whatever, but then you put really high quality rhinestones on it. It's gonna look expensive. So, but how do I know that? It's with time. Of course, I didn't know that when I started, but you have to start to get to the level of experience. And it's in classes like this that you can learn those things and maybe get ahead a little bit, So maybe you don't have to go through the same things that I've been through, because I'm here to share that with you as well. So maybe, it can help save you time and money. And again, it can be really fun. Maybe you find out, that you really love rhinestone and you can get really good at it. I've seen people just doing that for fun or just starting, and they find out they love it, and then they became like costume designers. It can happen. You never know what the future holds. Then time spent, don't rush. Rushing is bad. A rushed rhinestone job looks sloppy. It doesn't look good. Everything takes more time than you think. Rhinestoning is laborious. It takes a long time to have a good costume. However, once it's done, it's beautiful. Trust me, it's really beautiful. So it will pay off, spending time to do it, it will pay off. And actually, I did throw someone else's glove in the trash once because it was so badly done. They had this very cheap plastic stones you can buy at your local stationery or whatever. And the glue, you could see the glue around the stones, that it was made, because it was so rushed. I actually threw it away. I mean, I couldn't look at it. So don't do it. I'm a firm believer that nothing is ever wasted if you do that intentionally. If you're learning how to sew, it's a skill. You're gonna take that forever with you. I don't know, you can use that in the future. You can, maybe when you retire as a burlesque performer, you can sew pieces of your old costumes to keep as a souvenir for you. You can help the next generation of performers, to sew, and you can teach someone else, even your kids or grandkids or whatever. All of those skills, how to take better photos, how to pose, how to change, like your hooks on a corset for a zipper, all of those things. it's fascinating, you know, like that you can learn and do those things better in the future. So I really believe it's about really enjoying the whole process, and the goal is beautiful. And I really don't think you should just be here for the goal. I find that the most successful um, performers and humans that I know, they are in this industry for the whole process, for the people they meet on the way, for the moments backstage, for the moments on stage, for the moments with the audience, for the behind the scenes, you know, with the girls together, you know, having wine and rhinestoning together. You can do that with the girls, you know. So yeah, why drag the whole process when having fun is a mindset, you know? Here is what I just said to you about being resourceful. You will learn, trust me, you gain experience. I expect this extra effort for you if you want to go on stage for a good reason. I do have the video that I posted just last week about becoming a professional burlesque performer. You can check it out. It's on this channel. And then we get into the fun part after the speed talk, you know? So what makes a costume? So it's here I have some things, and of course there is more. If you remember something, I always have on my book, there's little space for you to write. And then it's, of course, hair and makeup, that's part of your costume. Jewelry, hairpiece, outer layers, dress, details to put everything together. A prop, if you have one. Capazios, maybe. If you don't know, capazios are the professional fishnets. Jewelry, mesh, sparkly underwear and pasties, dance shoes. You can dance with other shoes, but I really don't recommend. Dance with dance shoes. Great. So what is important with the basics? Oh yeah, I have to actually change this because it was supposed to be just a reminder, but it's just hair and makeup. When you're thinking about your costume and your story, your act should feel like a very cohesive thing. So if your character comes from the future, the year 3000, probably they wouldn't have the same haircut or hairstyle that we do today. If your character comes from the 50s, probably they would have a pin-up kind of hair. And actually that era is quite interesting because every 10 years there was a different hairstyle that people would wear. So when you're thinking about the makeup and the hair, you also want to think about your story, which I talked about in another class. And you want to think about, does it make sense together? And if it doesn't, is it intentional? Maybe your character is someone that came from the past and fell into the future. And it's like, okay, then it's really cool. Then of course, she looks like a 50s pinup, but she's in a futuristic era. It's like, or maybe you think those kind of Victorian roles will have a comeback in 100 years from now. So, but it has to make sense. It's not about, okay, I'll pick this piece of lingerie and I really like this kind of hair. I'll just do this hair. And then it's all together, you know? Think of the whole thing as cohesive. Your character is I think I give you an example, a mermaid. So would a mermaid have like a very sleek, high ponytail? Probably not, you know. All of those things, if they don't make sense together, it kind of breaks the magic for the audience when you're watching it. And if they do make sense together, they enhance and make your story more believable. So think about this, think about the colors. There are some people I suggest here. So if you want to do your own hair, there is this YouTubers that they do a lot of tutorials. Also, I wear a lot of extensions and half wigs. These are the places where I buy mine. And there is a little bit of trial and error. So some wigs, for example, if you go for them, they can be really cheap. and look really good. And you can get a really expensive wig that doesn't last as long. So unfortunately, you might have to go for trial and error. However, if you are anywhere nearby, you can probably try these here. These are the places where I get mine, and I know that even though Foxy Locks, they are real human hair, so they look amazing. And Annabelle wigs, they are fake hair, but they look pretty good. They don't look natural, but they look really good on stage, you know. What I do is I wear a half wig, and then I have my own hair in front, and I put a headpiece in between. So actually you can't see the moment my hair becomes the fake hair. And I'm moving on stage and everything, and they never like show my head to people, so they can't really tell. And one thing that's important to remember is the darker the hair, the easier it is to match colors. Remember, you cannot dye fake hair. It just, doesn't stick. The colors don't stick. So think about that, especially if you have a different hair color, it can be tricky, sometimes. So you might want to go for a full wig, instead of a half wig. Then outer layers and props. An outer layer can be a prop. So for example, you can be a giant cupcake. You can just be wearing nothing but a giant feather fan or a boa, etc. Oh, I mean feather fans here. Yes, I'll correct. It's really good, that I'm writing this book right now, and then I can get to see and read back, so I can find, like some of my mistakes to correct them before I print it. Also, if you have an outer layer, make sure you choose wisely. It's not something because it's something. You don't need to start with a dress. You don't need to start with a cape. Many do. What I want to mention here that's really important is consider the reveal you're working on when picking a closure. So a zipper will allow you to open and close and be really slow. Whereas pressure buttons won't do that. So once you open, you probably cannot close again. Also, if you're doing a lot of movements, if you have a very tight dress and it's pressure buttons, it might be tricky because they might pop up open. Whereas zipper are safer. So you have to really think, what you're doing before you choose your closure. Velcro is very tricky because it's very noisy. But if if your song is really loud, then you can probably pull this off, or if it's on purpose. But like you don't want to slow reveal with Velcro and it goes like you probably don't want that. So then I talk a little bit more, like think about the archetype. Would a bullet bra make sense in a contemporary act? Would a pinup wear a C-string? Or maybe she would wear a high-waisted panties. Think about that. Who is your hero? Who is your character? What would they wear? Would they wear, especially when you're talking about things like fringes, can be really tricky. Because fringes, if they are with beads, they can look very expensive. But regular fringes, they can cheapen if they're not done well. So you have to really make sure it is what you want. Maybe one lace instead of fringes, like really, really think this through. It will pay off in the end, trust me. Sparkles. So one of my coaches, Ruby Jewel, she said that the more naked you are, the sparklier you should be. And I couldn't agree more. So I'm a big fan of the mesh. So if you go, and one big example of that is Violette Coquette. You can just Google her, and if you're finding her pictures very clearly, she wears like some mesh, which is the see-through fabric, that you can pick on your color, your skin color. And then some of them are these gauntlets, so they just go on your finger and they go around your arm like a glove, but you don't take them off. But when you take your glove off, for example, you still sparkly. And then at the very end, you can be like naked, so you're wearing like a string and pasties, but you have the mesh, so you look really sparkly, you know, even though you're wearing basically nothing. It's really cool because you can, if you have one, let's say, you can also get a shrug. If you have just one, and I'm a big fan of sparkly arms, because you know you can do like snaky movements and be really sparkly with the stage lights. It's beautiful. And you rhinestone in a way that could work with like silver or golden, let's say AB stones. You can probably wear it for different acts, you know, so it can be very practical to wear those. Of course, in the future, you might want special ones for each act, but you can get one, you know, and wear them for every single act. That's also totally fine. If you get one that covers here, you can even have your necklace attached. And that is a very good idea because some stage necklaces, they are sturdy, but they move a lot. And sometimes they're cheap. And when you're moving, if you, especially if you do floor work or something, you can sew your necklace pieces to the mesh, and then you can cut the mesh around the edge of the jewelry so it won't look so um um I don't know, it won't look like loose. You know, I have one that has a big gem here, it's beautiful, but the gem keeps going to the side, you know, so it's a way to keep things in place so you stay very neat throughout your act. Plus, you know, sometimes these little, you know, the chains, you know, that they have, they can be really fragile, so they can break. But if it's sewn to your mesh, you know, you're safe. Yeah, so this is one example. And you can get like several different types. You can look for different colors. You can have a different color than your skin because we can tell you wearing them anyway, right? It's just about the effect that you want. More sparkles, I talk about jewelry. So here's exactly what I'm saying to you. I'm kind of using here just as a guide, but pretty much everything I'm saying is here. Maybe with a little more depth and maybe more examples, but here I have an important notice. So as I keep saying, things should make sense together. But having said that, done is better than perfect. So especially nowadays that we can order things and they arrive tomorrow, we have this sense of urgency that I need this and I need this now. But sometimes we can't find it. So I really trust the process. If you have an act that you love, you're going to perform it a few times. And if you perform it a few times, you can always keep improving it. And you will find it. You find the perfect necklace. You will find the perfect earrings. You'll find the perfect headpiece. Or you'll be able to make it someday. So wear the second best one for now. Really go for it. If you have a show next week and you just don't have time to do everything, do the best that you can right now. I say the same for the rhinestone work. So one thing that you can do that's very smart, you can rhinestone in layers, meaning you can start your rhinestone and then you can rhinestone in rain shower, meaning a lot of stones here and then fewer and fewer stones, like really sparse. And you can start like this. Next time you have time, you can put a little more. Next time you can put a little more. So you don't have to do the whole thing at once. But if you decide you're going to encrust your costume, encrusted means having zero space between the stones, you know, like one close to the next. That takes forever. And if you do a little spot and you realize, well, I don't have time to do the whole thing, it's going to look bad. So really think this through. Think about time budget. How much time do you have until you want to be on stage with that? And plan accordingly. Okay. We're very smart. We're performers, you know, I know. We're all very smart. So use that. Ask someone you know. Ask me. So I talk about the stones. Please don't get what I call rhine plastics. Don't get plastic rhinestones. They look very cheap. Get the best ones you can afford. And nice pasties. Most people can make their own pasties. So have a look. You can probably make your own. I prefer to buy. I'm not very good with my hands, as I have said a few times. So, but it's up to you. You can definitely learn how to make them. Many performers do. Here I'm talking about the layers. And finally, I get to the rhinestone guide. So here I do share with you some of my favorite brands. I buy a lot nowadays from AliExpress. You can also buy locally. So if you are in Europe or the US, I suggest shops here that you can buy from. If you prefer, like to buy locally. Preciosa is one of the best brands nowadays after Swarovski. And these three brands here I got from AliExpress, and they're pretty good. Of course, you want flat back ones because you need to stitch them or you need to glue them to your costume. You need, let's say, a full costume, around 3 colors. And you would like about 3 shades of each color, meaning 9 colors. For each color, I recommend this. So that's a lot of stones. So it's 3 times 3, 9 times 8,000. So you're gonna need 10,000 stones of size. Well, size 30, you need fewer actually. Let's say you need a third of it. Let's say 2,000 of 30. Then you need 10,000 of 20, 10,000 of 12, and maybe another 10,000 of mixed. You can buy these like 14,000 stones, and that is if you're gonna rhinestone the whole thing. You're gonna have leftovers, it's okay, you can save for next costume. But really, I always find that buy more than you think you need. It's definitely better. You don't want to be like, oh my God, I'm almost out. I have to order more. When are they going to arrive? You don't want to be in this situation. I also recommend getting silver or gold, AB or not, depending on your costume. AB means Aurora Borealis, and when they sparkle, they don't sparkle just silver, for example, they will be a bit iridescent. So they have a little bit of the colors of the rainbow, I forgot the name. But like they will actually shine different colors depending on the lights, and they actually sparkle more. So this is the glue, E6000 Fabric Fuse. Best glue. No discussion. That's the glue. Test somewhere else. If it's the first time you rhinestone, just get another fabric. Get, I don't know, your pillow, and play a bit with it. Don't go straight to your costume. You need a little fine tuning, with the glue. So you understand how much glue you need, how long to leave the glue before you press the rhinestone, not to press the rhinestone too early so that the glue doesn't come out, For colors, again, of course, it depends on your costume. To start with, I recommend about 3 shades of the same main color you're going for. So if you're going for green, you can pick one of these, for example, green. I don't know if you can see, but the top ones. And then you pick 3 shades, somewhere darker, middle, and lighter of the same color of green. And you can pick the colors next to them as well to give some depth. And when you're feeling daring, you can pick the color opposite on the wheel. So if you have a green, mostly costume, get some red stones, and that can make your costume really pop. I'll go into more depth that in the more advanced course. How to apply? That's kind of what I mentioned before. So the rain shower method. So you go with more stones to fewer stones. You can create a pattern. So you can have, like, for example, if here you have your fabric, you can create maybe a zigzag. You can create a little flower, and then you can repeat the flower everywhere. To help you with this work, you can do appliques. So you can order appliques also from AliExpress or somewhere else. If you order fabric that's lace, lace will come with some patterns of flowers or whatever. You can always cut them, and then you stick them to your fabric and sew, and then you can use that as a pattern for your rhinestoning. I find them much better than just putting stones everywhere. You can follow the lines on a costume piece. So maybe your costume already has lines. You can follow those lines. Follow a pattern already existing in the costume piece. Make sure that if you're rhinestoning lace, only lace, not on top of another stronger fabric, you're careful with your choice of stones because the lace can get ripped very quickly. It's very light fabric, very delicate. So be careful. If it's elastic, you must stretch it first. So you can use a pillow and then your string, for example, you stretch. So what I put is a silicone baking sheet, like the ones that don't stick, that you bake cookies on. And then you put your string on top, stretched as much as you can, maybe 2 pillows if you need. And then you do your rhinestoning job and you leave it to dry for 24 hours before you remove it. Yeah, I like the silicone baking sheet. You can use baking paper too, because you can roll it and put inside your glove, so to do this with your glove. The different sizes, what I do is I use less of the bigger ones and more of the smaller ones. If I'm creating a pattern, I use, for example, big, medium, small, small. And then I keep repeating this pattern. So you can also go from small to big, small, big, small, big, or you can go big to small, big to small, big to small. You can create your own patterns with these. And again, do not rush. I said that before. So that's it. That's a more comprehensive, I find, video about the costuming. So next is something else. And yeah, I hope it's helpful. Thank you so much for watching. See you on the next video. Bye.